Alright guys, as you guys know, this is my TNA Destination X 2012 pay-per-view review. So, before I get into, the review and whatnot, I do want to apologize for this video being up a little late, but hey, you know what they say, better late than never. Believe it or not, I was busy after Destination X. My friend called me, dude, you want to go to a party? I'm like, I'm kinda tired or whatever. He's like, dude, come on, let's go. I'm like, yeah, fine. So I went over and whatnot, and, came back not that long ago, and, still, kinda, I guess you could say, my party here, sure, whatever. But hey, it was a good time, not too bad. Anywho, so let's get started with this Destination X pay-per-view, and overall, this was an enjoyable show. This was a pretty good show. And I know some people were saying, like, this is the best pay-per-view they've seen in years. I don't know about that, but to me, this is the best pay-per-view TNA has came Impact Wrestling Bar. TNA has come out this year, because, it just had a lot of wrestling. It seems like, a lot of people, they complain, they say, oh, I want wrestling, I don't want so much entertainment. Like, they don't want they don't want entertainment to overshadow the wrestling. So, and we didn't get that tonight. There was some, I won't say there were some entertainment moments, but, again, we did get some, wrestling, and then we kicked it off with, wait, what was that? It was Fatal 4, it was like a Fatal 4-Way X Division Last Chance Qualifier. Rubix versus Mason Andrews versus Lars Only and Dakota DeSaw. Now, I'm not gonna lie, from a guy who doesn't watch indies, I was confused of who the hell any of these guys were, so, if I say some of these guys' names, I do apologize. You guys know me, I'm a TNA, WWE guy, I don't really watch ROH, or, I know none of these guys were in ROH, but, you get what I'm saying, I'm really watching the indie promotions, like Chikara and whatnot. And speaking of indies, I heard Pac, signed with WWE, and from what I hear, he's a really good talent, I'm probably going to build him up in the whole NXT, aka FCW version 2, but anyways, that's WWE, this is TNA, alright. So anyway, the X Division match was pretty good, not too bad way of starting it off. Winner was Mason Andrews, and there I go again, again, not a bad, it seems like there was not too much of a spot fest, because I'm one of those guys, I do like, the high-flying spots, but I don't like too much of it, like, to the point that it's like, when you want to see a spot, like a spot fest, like, some guy doing a flip out of the ring into, crashing into someone, I'd be going, oh, cool, that's awesome. I just, and I'm not saying it did have this match, but I was kind of worried at first maybe this would be one of those matches that they do it every freaking minute, and I'd sit there going, okay, now you're kind of losing its taste. It's now no longer special, it's just, it's boiled down our throats. But I'm not bashing this match, it was a good and entertaining match. Alright. So then we had Kid Cash versus Mason Andrews literally right after, and, it's been a while since I've seen Kid Cash, and I was like, okay, and I know, actually, he was at Slammiversary, wasn't he? Yeah, he was at Slammiversary, I'm not saying that. But it's just like, I haven't really seen Kid Cash on TV in a while, so I was like, okay, Kid Cash is still with the company, But, Mason Andrews won that, so it's like, okay, they're building him up for the night. It's like, oh, can he, keep going type of deal? So then we had Kenny King versus Douglas Williams. Now, I'm not going to bash Kenny King. I know I was a little bit harsh on Twitter, and I do apologize, but it was just like, I had never seen this guy wrestle. Like, I didn't even see his match on Impact. Like, I saw everything on Impact but Kenny King. And I know he recently got fired from ROH, and a lot of people want him to sign with TNA, and he probably will sign with TNA. But it's just like, everyone's freaking out over the guy. Like, oh my god, Kenny King did a flip. Oh my god, Kenny King's the best. Kenny King is amazing. I'm sitting there going, this guy's good. It's not like he's like the best thing, since sliced bread, you know what I mean? But, it was interesting to see. I mean, I'm just waiting for someone to say he's a black version of CM Punk or like Austin Aries or Daniel Bryan or something. I'm waiting for that, But hey, I am not bashing any ROH bots or anything, so please do not be offended. So anyway, Douglas Williams versus Kenny King. There's another one I haven't seen in forever, Douglas Williams. And to me, I think Mitch said this in his, his guru review. that, there's been better matches from Douglas Williams. I agree with them. This wasn't really all that great, and I understand it. I mean, Kenny King just got there like a few days ago, type of deal. So it's kind of like you gotta work on the chemistry and whatnot. And sometimes when a new guy you've never faced, whether it's the Indies or whatever, when you face one-on-one, you gotta have that chemistry. And if you don't have the chemistry, it's not gonna come off well. And these guys really didn't all have that much chemistry, but it was an alright match. I wouldn't say it would be a pay-per-view match. I'd say it's more of an impact match, but still, I'm not complaining. I'm not saying it sucks. So anyway, Kenny King got the win. Yada yada. And then we have Sanjay Dutt versus Rashad Cameron. Now, I don't think I've said this to you guys yet, but I'm glad Sanjay Dutt's back in TNA. And I don't know if this is kind of like a one-time only deal, like he's going to go back doing his indie thing. But, if he stays in TNA, I'm all for it, I was a fan of Sanjay Dutt. When him and Jay Lethal were having that feud, sure, it was kind of stupid how they had SoCal Val in the middle of it, and they're like, oh, let's have it like freaking tuxedo match. And it was like, oh my lord. But it was still, I enjoyed Sanjay Dutt. I enjoyed his character, and I'm enjoying it now, And he had a pretty good match against Rashad Cameron. But oh man, that finisher he did, that moonsault, oh my god, that was scary hell. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, Sanjay Dutt wins, and he advances to the Ultimate X. The winner gets, the X-Division Championship. And then comes Zema Ion versus, actually no, excuse me. We have, wait, do you have Zema Ion? Okay, I might just go out of order here. Okay, so Jesse Sorensen cuts his promo, right? Jesse Sorensen comes out there, and to be honest with you, I kind of forgot Jesse Sorensen. Don't ask why, but I kind of did. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about Jesse Sorensen. His little varsity gimmick, it's kind of cool. I called him like an Evan Bourne. Don't ask why. But, it was still, cool to see Jesse Sorensen, and he kind of had this kind of like heartful type of speech, like, oh, I've, dealt with this, I thought my career was going to end, I thought the doctor said that you can never wrestle again, blah, blah, and I thought to myself going, I'm buying in on this promo, I thought it was pretty good, it wasn't too bad, and, and I just thought to myself afterwards, they're probably going to push Jesse Sorensen to the frickin' moon, and what I mean by that, when this guy comes back, this guy's going to be like X-Division champion in like a week or two, like seriously, like the way... in the previous, like in the past, when they've had these video packages of him at home and whatnot, Jesse Sorensen, he's getting attention, and who knows, maybe you saw last year TNA when they did the whole Austin Aries thing, and look where he's at now. I'm not saying, oh, Jesse Sorensen's Austin Aries, but I'm saying that, TNA is obviously not afraid to push some of the young guys, like an Austin Aries or, Jesse Sorensen when he comes back, so I think it's a very good idea. So then we have Zema Ion, the man that injured Jesse Sorensen, and yes, Jesse Sorensen actually said, you took my career away, like you broke my neck, and if you become champion, I'm taking that title away, so I thought that was kind of cool. So then we have Zema Ion versus Flip Casanova, and I was thinking to myself, isn't Flip Casanova the guy that broke someone's freaking nose on freaking Impact? And it was, I was right. But, Zema Ion reminds me of, like, the combination of, like, Paul London and Carlito. Don't ask why, he just does. But, Zema Ion got the win. Not too bad, kind of saw it coming. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe Zema Ion might be the favorite to win the X-Division Championship, especially now this whole Jesse Sorensen thing. So then we had the Bound for Glory series match between Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, and I loved it. I thought this was a very good match. Was it their best match ever? Nah, I don't know. I mean, to me, I still enjoy the whole, when Kurt Angle, I think they said in 2006, I think it was, like, Kurt Angle, ended, not 2006, but he ended Samoa Joe's win streak. And, to me, that's just because, well, it was pretty damn good. And, see, we kind of had that drama effect when, Joe was still, undefeated and whatever. But this was still a very good match. And, it's kind of funny how last year a guy like Samoa Joe was negative, like, 21. And Joe even said before the match how last year, he just wanted to hurt people and whatnot. And this year he has a different approach. This year he actually is trying to make guys tap out. And he's trying to, go for the win. And trying to, become #1 contender at Bound for Glory, which is in Phoenix. Yes. Anywho. So, I was very interested. I was very invested in this match. And it's kind of cool how they showed, Kurt's kids, in the audience. That was kind of cool. Like, oh, yeah, they're watching their dad, wrestle. Pretty cool. But, anyway, Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. Like I said, not too bad of a match. When Kurt Angle kicked out of that Muscle Buster, I was like, Kurt Angle's winning this. He's got to win this. Like, I can't remember the last time someone kicked out of a Muscle Buster. And then, but you know, the way Samoa Joe's face was like, like he wasn't like shocked. Like, you know, some people like if they hit the finisher, you know, they're shocked that they kicked out. Like, oh my god, they kicked out. Like they're like freaking. I mean, he wasn't freaking out. I was like, okay, was he not worried? But you know, and the crowd was kind of iffy tonight. Like some of the moments it was pretty good, the crowd, and some of them were kind of like dead. Then again, it's the Impact Zone. So you know, Samoa Joe puts him in the the rear naked choke, and I was thinking to myself, he's gonna tap out. And I was thinking, I can't see Kurt Angle tapping out. I don't think they will make Kurt tap out, and he didn't tap out. I was right, but he passed out. So ref called for the bell. Samoa Joe wins. He got that 10 points of submission. You know, I thought to myself, wow, you know, yes, Samoa Joe wins, but Kurt Angle doesn't look weak. You know, he doesn't look, oh, he tapped out. You know, he just passed out. You know, it kind of reminded me of, and please don't take this the wrong way, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, back in the day, the submission match. You know, Austin didn't tap out at WrestleMania, but he passed out. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, he really hang in there type of deal. So I thought that was pretty cool. So then we had, oh my god, and I'm not gonna bash this match. I'm bashing the storyline of this match. Daniels versus AJ Styles. Oh my lord. Okay, I understand we've seen Daniels versus AJ Styles like a billion times. You know, it seems like it's either, oh, I'm better than you, or now it's like, you got a drug you pregnant, AJ? How dare you bastard? You know, and I was wondering, I was like, why is Kazarian like in the corner or something? And of course, Kazarian later interfered in the match, but hey, he was last man standing, so he could do it. So, you know, this match was pretty good. You know, obviously the key, you know, the big spot, AJ Styles and the Styles clash off the stage right through the table that Daniels actually set up, believe it or not. So, you know, I thought it was pretty good, and I hopefully, you know, I'm not trying to sound mean, but I hope this feud ends. I was like, how many times do we have to see this? And not only that, it's just like, okay, what's next? Like, TNA is like, oh, AJ, you didn't get her pregnant, I was just kidding, LOL. But you had sex with her mama. It's like, what are you gonna throw at us, TNA? Like, are you guys even thinking? I mean, I was thinking of this, like, it was a good match. It's just the story behind it, like, the storyline was just like this is up to, like, I don't want to be dramatic here, but this is up to, like, Katie Vick. Like, it is that bad of a storyline. It's just, But hey, you needed something to spice it up, I guess, you know? Oh, boy. So, okay. So then we had the Ultimate X match. Mason Andrews versus Zema Iron versus Kenny King versus Sanjay Dutt. I kind of wish this got more time. You know, I'm not picky. I just wish, you know, to me with Ultimate X matches, I want to be longer than 8 minutes. Like, I understand they were trying to time compress and everything, but it was just like, you ended that too quick. It was like 1 minute, I blinked, and I'm like, okay, the match is happening. Oh, Kenny King, he jumped off the ring post. He's ready to go get the championship. Oh, next thing you know, Zema is on top of it, and he gets the belt and wins. It's like, what the hell? You know, it was quick. You know, it felt quick at least, but it was an alright match. You know, not really, I could say, a memorable Ultimate X match, but, you know, afterwards, Zema Iron did get interviewed, and he said, I want to thank Jesse Sorensen for getting, you know, injured, breaking his neck, whatever. And now I thought, okay, now it's predictable. You know, once Jesse Sorensen comes back, Zema Iron, excuse me, is literally just warming that belt up for, you know, Jesse Sorensen now. It's like, okay, it's obvious, but, you know, hey, it'll be a good story when Jesse Sorensen wins. And then finally, the main event, Option C, as Austin Aries would call it, how do I say this? Sorry, it's like 140. You know, the greatest man that ever lived, you know, AW, you know, double A, whatever you want to call it. Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I thought to myself, how are they going to do this? Because they're trying to make it, like, obviously people are like, oh, it's going to be predictable. You know, Bobby Roode is going to lose it at Bound for Glory to James Storm. You know, it's obvious. You know, that's what people have been saying. But what are you doing with Austin Aries? Austin Aries is on a hot streak. You know, he's getting over with the crowd. I mean, he doesn't even have to say anything. He's like, Austin Aries, and he kind of pulls a funny and says, I already know your name. I already know my name. You know, but you know, I was thinking, how are they going to end this? You know, it's going to end in disqualification or something. You know, with Bobby Roode winning. You know, how are they going to do this? And you know, I started off kind of slow. I was like, please pick it up. You know. But it started to end up pretty darn good, you know, to the point that Bobby Roode literally tried everything under the book practically to freaking win this match. And it just did not work for him. I'm sorry, it just did not work for him, right? And then Austin Aries, he does his thing, cleanly pins him right in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. The Impact Zone went insane. I give TNA credit this. Whenever, a face, Sting or RVD, Jeff Hardy wins, it's usually yeah, woo, type of deal. When Aries won, they act like they won the freaking Super Bowl. Holy crap. They're the crowd just got alive just like that. I'm like, whoa. There's confetti all over the place, and, it was good. It was a good match. It was a good little feeling right there. And as much as I don't like Mike Tenay, I thought when he closed the pay-per-view by saying, when we think of Destination X 2012, we look back, we'll think of Austin Aries winning the World Heavyweight Championship. When he said that, I was like, alright, for once I actually agree with Mike Tenay. That was pretty good, So anyways, that's it for me. Sorry for this review being a little longer than usual. So yeah, catch you guys on the flip side, and Money in the Bank, they got their hands full after this pay-per-view.